Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today is actually the first video I'm editing and voicing in 2023. It's so crazy. So today's design, we've got kind of like a 2 shades of purple design and a little bit of a butterfly hint to it. So I thought I might give this little minute to kind of update you guys on what I'm basically planning for 2023. So I'm kind of thinking of keeping to a schedule to officially have a proper schedule. Before I was kind of trying to film or have a video one day on, one day off, that kind of thing. But I think going forward, I'm going to try and stick to specific days. So I'm actually thinking of doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So let me know what you think of that. I feel like that's doable as much as I possibly can. Of course, with life there might be some things that might come into play and I might not be able to upload, but I am trying to kind of stick to the schedule. And at the end of December I was trying to pre-plan everything for January, and I feel like I'm quite happy with what I've got so far. So I'm really excited to get the year started and super organized and ready to get everything rolling. So for today's nail design, I thought I'll keep it nice and simple. It's one of those designs that I used to do quite often when I first started to do nail designs on stiletto nails. So the design itself isn't crazy, it's quite simplistic and easy to recreate if you wanted to recreate it. So we've got one for Madam Glam gel polish colour. I want to say it's called Vivid Purple. I wasn't really reading right at the beginning of that video. And then we've got the lighter purple from McCart, but that one I can't remember. They have numbers and I can't remember the numbers. It's easier to remember a name than the number. And so we've got 2 light purple nails. We've got one vivid purple. This one here is going to be half light and half dark purple. As you can see, the light purple was at the top, but for the 5th nail now, it's going to be flipped. So the darker purple will be at the top and then the lighter purple will be at the bottom. Where you place the lighter purple is where you want to place the stamping that we're going to do later. So I decided to not keep it strictly in the middle. I kind of wanted more of the lighter shade to be on the nail, so I have more area to stamp onto and have a larger design on it. So that was my specific choice, but that's all completely up to you. So as you can see here as well, I am not using any nail art brushes. I'm just using the brush from the bottle. And also you don't need to be too careful with the lines being straight, because we're going to cover up with crystals, which is going to be beautiful at the end. So here I'm using some of my glitter. So this glitter is from Larissi. I'll have a link in the description. I think it will save you guys some money off your purchase. It's literally the best place for glitters. You should definitely go check them out. 99% of my glitters are from there, and I'll probably continue buying until I get them all. And they probably have like 300 glitters. They do mixes, they do fine, chunkies, they do it all. So definitely check it out. So now here is the plate that we're going to use today. So it's from Beauty Big Bang Animals XL001. The name is a bit funny. It's not full on an animal one. It's more of like a butterfly one. Animals kind of makes me think of a bunch of different animals, but oh well, it's a butterfly one. And here we've got a white from Born Pretty, and we've got a Moyu London shade Funk is Alive. So this actually colour was not the one I wanted to use initially. I must have got muddled up, and when I started filming I ended up just using it, and later on noticing that's actually not the shade I was going for. I wanted it a bit more darker, a bit more closer to the dark purple that we use, but that's absolutely fine. It still kind of did its job. I just wanted it to be a bit more brighter. So here I'm picking up one of those full cover images, and I'll show you guys in just a second how you can make this tiny full cover image cover up your whole stiletto nail. And I know that not every client is going to come in with nails like this, so of course this kind of design will usually cover a human nail, but I know that there's some ladies out there that love super long nails. So I'll show you now how I go about it and how I combine basically a full cover nail together. So I wipe it down with some acetone and a lint-free wipe. I'm going in with white again. So this one can be a bit difficult because of the little dots that we're trying to do, but what I'm going to do is reapply the white, scrape it with my scraper, and then pick it up with my stamper head, get rid of the excess, which I think is called isolating. I think I've been watching more stamping videos, so I'm trying to learn the terminology and all the words that you use. And you want to start placing the dots where, because as you can see, it's almost like a little fade where the most dots are in the center, then it's fading away. So I'm going to use the corners of that image where there's the least amount of dots and place it down. And as you can see, stuff like this happens. It's absolutely normal and it's so easy to fix. You just grab some acetone on your lint-free wipe and just wipe away. Often when you do this, you will remove the tacky layer, which I just did there, and notice I can't restamp, so there's that. So I had to go over it again, but luckily it gives you that option, because I could not imagine always having to stamp perfectly and not be able to fix it later. So I'm going to restamp it. I definitely used way too much polish there was no need to cover the full image. I only needed a few extra little dots. Here I decided not to isolate. When you've got good control over your stamper, then sometimes you don't actually need to isolate. It's all down to your comfort zones, and you know, yeah, you get me when you start stamping. At first I was so scared, but these days now I don't always isolate. I feel like I've got a good grip on my stamper and I know where to push it, how to push it to avoid any of the areas I don't want, and only place the areas that you do want. So now that we've got that one done, we've got 2 more nails to stamp on. They're going to be identical nails. So they'll be identical, but we're going to flip them. So now we're going in with this darker purple shade from Moe London. I'm just going to scrape it, and I've decided to pick up the one with the lines and the butterflies in the centers of the little kind of square things that's going on. So I've actually used this nail design, or at least this image before, and I just get so excited when I get to reuse stamping plates. Sometimes I feel like some are kind of one use, where you're kind of going in for that one design and you're most likely not picking it up again. But butterfly stamping plates or floral ones are always a must have. Those I just picked up the most. You probably noticed on my channel, and I'm sure that this stamping plate will be featured once again one day, because at the moment I don't have any nail designs featuring this one again, but I'm sure there's still, I mean, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... There's about probably 10 still more images on there that I have not used before, and I'm sure I'm going to. So now it's time to do some reverse stamping. If you're not familiar with reverse stamping, it's almost like a colouring book on your stamper, and you get to just colour in whatever you want. So because the butterflies had these little gaps where the wings were, I thought I'll colour it in and give it some more kind of texture and like a bit of a different look, and made them kind of pop out more. So the white is going to do just that. So I'm just picking up a brush. I like to work with a fairly short brush, not too long but also not too short. I used to try and colour in with a shorter brush, but I find this one that I'm using here the most ideal for me anyways. And what I'm doing is just placing a little blob of stamping polish onto my scraper in this instance, and just starting to colour in the butterfly wings. And you want to make sure you're not scraping, you're kind of floating the polish on. Don't be worried if you're going to put too much. It's okay to place a bit more than usual, but you don't also want it to be completely soaking, like way too much, like a massive blob on there. You also don't want to do that. I will have a video coming up fairly soon. It's scheduled for January, I think, kind of discussing reverse stamping, how to go about it, best tools, and all of that good stuff. So do stick around if that's kind of your thing, or you want to learn a bit more about stamping. Unfortunately for some, I guess, some might like it, some might not. I do really enjoy stamping, so there will be more and more content around stamping, the products, testing out different things. So I hope you guys like it. If you don't, I'm sure there will be some videos in between that are not around stamping or don't involve stamping. Unfortunately, at the moment I've been on a massive stamping craze, so I'm sure you guys are going to see a bit more than usual from me when it comes to stamping. So going back to the video, there we are, we've stamped it on our purple bit. So you want to try and use a clear stamper so you can actually see very clearly where you're placing your image. And this was the second one actually, so I ended up trimming the other one. And this is what it looks like, and it's all going to come together very nicely when we start top coating it. Today I'm using my matte top coat from Vanalisa, and with the top coating you want to be fairly careful. Some people like to, I think they apply a glossy top coat first before matte top coating. I think I've heard that matte top coats seem to smudge your images. I have had that before, but ever since that day I'm not quite sure. It hasn't happened since. So I've just been continuing to just go straight in with a matte top coat. Nothing happens. But if you do end up coming into those kind of struggles and issues, maybe try putting on a glossy top coat then the matte top coat. Of course I'm using gels. A lot of people use just normal polishes to do stamping and stuff like that, so then that's a slightly different area and technique of what you need to do. I think you need to apply like a sticky base coat before you stamp down and all that kind of stuff. So there's some extra steps and products you might need, but for us with using gels we don't need to use those steps, luckily, which is amazing. So once you're happy, pop those into the lamp and they'll come back out matte. So here we are, all nice and matte. So the very last step is going to be some crystals. The crystal placement, super easy today. I'm using my Macart Rhinestone Glue Gel, and it's just in a different container before anyone asks. They come in the squeeze tubes. They very often break. I've had two now, both broke. I've watched other YouTubers that use Macart Rhinestone Glue Gel. Their tubes have also broke, so I think it's just a recurring thing with them. Luckily, I had this little container with some pretty bad, not very good, it wasn't very good, Rhinestone Glue Gel, so I got rid of it, cleaned it out, and just squeezed my tub into this little container, and I so much prefer it into these little pots, so I can actually take out as much as I want rather than squeezing out way too much product onto my palettes and then end up having to waste it and all of that stuff. So with our pastel-y purple shade, I've got some clear crystals and some purple ones that I'm going to kind of place in the right hand side corner of those, and I'm also going to play about with some caviar beads and place them in between. So where I had some rhinestone glue gel, that was great, but some areas I had to add it in. Ideally, if you're doing it for a client, you might probably want to place the crystals down first before you top coat, especially when adding caviar beads, because you might end up going a bit overboard with your rhinestone glue gel and end up making some nail parts shiny where you wanted it matte. So of course, for me, this is just design videos. This is not for wearing. I would never wear such long nails. It's not that I would never, it's just I could not function with nails like this. I'm too crazy, like I need to use my hands, and I just could not. I can just imagine myself whacking my hands, breaking them off, and just being in so much agony and pain from ripping them off my nails. So yeah, there's a little story for you. So I'm going to just quickly place those caviar beads, pop that one into the lamp, and that one will be all nice and done. For the other two, they're going to be very repetitive, of course, just flipped. So where you've got the two colours that kind of meet, you want to place the crystals right there. And I believe I was using only one size crystals, so it's quite important for you to maybe have to play about with the crystals a little bit to find the correct size, so that when you place it, you don't need to, it kind of fits in perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. And because I've noticed when I've been doing it for me, sometimes if I pick a shade that's slightly too, size that's slightly too small, I might end up having a bit of a gap on the side, but it's small enough of a gap where I can't place another one of those size crystals, but then it's, you know, there's a gap and I can't do anything about it, and I don't want to place a different size there because it would just be eye-catching and just different. So try and make sure you measure them out, or try and, you know, place them down and just fiddle about with it until you're happy. I do think I was slightly off here, but it was probably the best I could do today for the video. And then also when it comes to the caviar beads, I also decided to place them in between the crystals. So I hope you guys are liking a slightly longer video. Usually I would have trimmed this video way down, probably down to like a 10, maybe even a 9-minute video, just because there's not that much actually going on when it comes to techniques or what I'm doing. It's quite, you know, it's quite simplistic, but I know you guys have been telling me that you prefer longer videos, and I always complain how I don't want them too long for you guys, but it's lovely to hear that you guys like them longer, so I will try and fulfill your wishes and do them longer. But yeah, I also agree with some of your comments while I was reading that you kind of use YouTube as like a TV thing, and me too. I literally don't watch TV. YouTube is my thing. I love YouTube, watching YouTube, doing everything on YouTube, so I definitely know what you mean with having longer videos is so much better. So I will try and see what I can do and have them longer, or have at least some nail video ideas where I can actually have them longer and still keep you entertained with some good stuff. So here we are, and putting some caviar beads in between the clear crystals really adds such a beautiful look, makes them look so much fuller, and literally looks like, I like to refer this as jewelry for some reason sometimes. It literally gives me like a jewelry vibe. But here are the final results. I hope you guys liked it. It's a bit simplistic. We've got some more crazier, funner videos coming up soon, so stay tuned. And I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll have all the links in the description of what we used today. And I would love to see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.